Who gets remembered? Welcome to the D- Diaries, Episode 28, the Memorial Day edition, by Jim Jones. Author's note: this piece is not about who you should or should not remember, or how you choose to honor those who have moved to their final resting place. It is simply saying this: it is good that you are remembering. Memorial Day was never created to celebrate freedom. It was created to remember and reflect on the human cost. Many good people still confuse Memorial Day and Veterans Day. They are not the same holiday. Veterans Day is about service. Memorial Day is about sacrifice. Historically, Memorial Day began as Decoration Day after the Civil War, when Americans decorated the graves of those who died in war. It is a day set aside to honor U.S. service members who died while in uniform or as a result of their military service. Its official focus is on those who paid the ultimate price for the country, killed in action, lost in training, or later dying from wounds and service-related causes. It does not formally cover every veteran who lived out a full life and later died of unrelated causes. Those veterans belong more to Veterans Day, which honors all who served, living and dead. In practice, though, Americans blur that line. Families visit the graves of loved ones, veterans and non-veterans alike, and communities sometimes fold all their deceased veterans and first responders into Memorial Day events. So there is a quiet tension between the narrow meaning, which is about the war dead, and the broader folk tradition, which treats the day as a general time of remembrance. You can see both at once: a bugler at a national cemetery playing taps for the fallen, and a family in a small town placing flowers on the headstone of a grandfather who wore the uniform and died decades later. Memorial Day belongs to those who never came home, and to the families who had to keep living after they did not. Most veterans I know treat the day differently. It is quieter, more reflective. At some point, names stop being historical and start being personal. You remember somebody from training, deployment, or a unit that took losses. Sometimes it is a face, a laugh, or a chair that stayed empty afterward. Military families have a phrase for the moment when everything changes: the knock at the door. No text message, no email, no social media post. Someone in uniform arrives and life divides into before and after. I was fortunate. My family never received that knock. Many families did. When a service member dies, the machine moves quickly. Casualty assistance officers arrive, funeral arrangements begin, benefits are explained, flags are folded. There is structure and process, and there are people assigned to help. But behind all of that is a family trying to understand something that cannot be organized, a spouse trying to explain loss while still living inside it, children trying to understand why mom or dad is not coming back, parents enduring what parents should never have to face. The funeral is not the end of loss. It is the beginning of a different life, with one person missing and a family learning a new way to exist. No benefit replaces a person. No folded flag explains death to a child. No government process fixes grief. That is why Memorial Day exists. Modern America added a complication. War no longer belongs only to people in military uniforms. Today, military operations are built by ecosystems: military, civil servants, contractors. On paper, those look like three different worlds. In practice, they often share the same air. Not all civil servants sit behind a desk in an office park. Some wear uniforms, carry ID cards, and train on the same installations as the troops they support. My own department of the Army civilian position was officially deployable, and my uniform carried 3 letters over the tape: Department of the Army Civilian, or DAC. I was a federal employee, not a soldier. I never actually deployed, but the job was built to go forward with units and operate under the same Geneva Convention rules that shape military operations. To most people, we would have looked military. To an enemy firing rockets, the difference between DAC rank or a company logo on a badge would not matter much. That is what modern war really looks like. It is the soldier securing the perimeter, the civilian engineer keeping the network alive, the contractor maintaining aircraft or escorting convoys, the analyst turning raw data into intelligence, the logistics specialists making sure food, fuel, and ammunition show up where they are needed. In many places, it is also contractors carrying rifles, manning towers, and providing armed security in the same danger zones as the units they support. Some wear combat patches, some wear DAC, some swipe in with contractor badges. They stand in the same chow line, duck under the same incoming rounds, and ride down the same roads in the same convoys. Imagine 3 Americans sitting in the same operations center overseas: a military communications sergeant, a civil service employee, and a contractor supporting military networks. Different employers, same mission. Then the alarm sounds. There is an attack. All 3 are killed. Same building, same moment, same sacrifice. What happens next is very different. For the service member's family, an entire system activates. The Department of Defense, DoD, pays a tax-free $100,000 death gratuity to eligible survivors and service members group. Life insurance could add up to $500,000 more if the member kept the coverage. Many families also qualify for VA dependency and indemnity compensation, along with military funeral honors, burial in a national cemetery, and formal Gold Star recognition. For the federal civilian's family, another set of rules applies. Survivors may receive a line-of-duty death gratuity and benefits under federal workers' compensation and retirement systems, but there is usually less public visibility and fewer ceremonial markers. For the contractor's family, everything depends on contracts and insurance. Most U.S. defense contractors overseas fall under Defense Base Act coverage, which functions like workers' compensation for injuries and deaths tied to the job. Companies may offer extra life insurance or support, but there is no Gold Star equivalent and no automatic right to military honors. None of that changes what happens in the living room afterward. The child still lost a parent. The spouse still lost a partner. Parents still face questions they never wanted to hear. Grief does not care who signed the paycheck. Gold Star families are rightly held in deep respect by military leaders, politicians, and former teammates. For many, though, that recognition feels less like a badge of honor and more like a badge of sorrow. Most Americans still picture war the way our grandparents did: rows of soldiers, front lines, everybody in uniform. That is not what the last 25 years looked like. The global war on terror changed warfare. The military became smaller, technology grew larger, operations moved faster, support functions exploded. In some phases of Iraq and Afghanistan, contractors actually outnumbered military personnel, and researchers at Brown University estimate that about 8,189 U.S. contractors working for the Department of Defense were killed in America's post-9/11 wars, compared to roughly 7,052 U.S. service members who died in uniform over the same period. Contractors have been part of American military efforts since the beginning. George Washington used them for many duties, and today they still drive trucks, build facilities, protect compounds, maintain aircraft, manage communications, support intelligence, and handle logistics. Civil servants provide continuity in programs, modernization, acquisition, communications, planning, and policy, often in the same combat zones as the units they support. Some are Department of Defense civilians wearing DAC or other agency patches. Others are intelligence or technical specialists under different titles. All accept the same basic reality: danger does not always care whether someone is active duty, a Department of Defense civilian, a contractor, or a first responder who gets called onto a base after something goes wrong. It simply fills whatever space people are standing in. And even inside the military, the lines blur further. Not everyone who served dies in uniform. Some survive war, retire, and years later, service reaches back through injury, illness, exposure, or suicide. Families become experts in paperwork they never wanted to learn, trying to prove what they already know, that service mattered. The responsibilities overlap, but the oaths and legal consequences are different. In my civil service job, I could supervise troops and write evaluations that shaped a soldier's career. I could influence assignments and ratings. I could not administer the Uniform Code of Military Justice. I did not hold the same authority to punish, relieve, or send someone into harm's way. That authority still belonged to officers and NCOs in the chain of command. We think national security is like a spear, but it is more like a web. You only notice the strands when one breaks. When loss happens, families rarely care where their loved one sat on an organizational chart. Benefits may be different, recognition may be different, titles may be different. Grief is not. Grief does not ask whether someone was on active duty, a federal civil servant, a contractor, or a first responder. It only asks who is not coming home. If Memorial Day belongs to the fallen and Veterans Day belongs to those who served, what are we supposed to do with Memorial Day? Maybe the answer is simple. Remember, not debate, not compare, not compete, just remember. The people we remember on Memorial Day do not get a vote anymore. They do not get to explain why they went or what they thought of the mission. Their story stopped where their life stopped. The rest of us inherited the responsibility to remember. Read a name, visit a cemetery, tell your kids why flags are at half-staff, ask someone about somebody they lost, look at the dates and realize how young some of them were. They never got to retire, never got to become grandparents, never got to grow old and complain about politics or property taxes. Life simply stopped. Somebody else had to keep going. At the end of a military funeral, someone carries a folded flag and kneels in front of the family. They say a version of the same words, on behalf of a grateful nation. Not a perfect nation, not a unanimous nation, a grateful nation. Gratitude means recognizing that something was given that cannot be returned. The people we honor on Memorial Day already paid. The question is whether we remember them and whether we recognize the families who still carry their absence. Take a few quiet seconds. Somewhere tonight, someone will look at a flag, and someone will remember a voice they have not heard in years. This is Memorial Day, not politics, not guilt. It is a day when a nation that enjoys freedom enjoys life because others paid a terrible price. For these little moments, it is respectful to remember the cost. This is the American Memorial Day, not politics, not guilt, remembrance. I would like to invite you to post a comment about someone you remember this holiday. Jim, D-Jones. If you like this story, please like, share, and subscribe.